Hello everyone, welcome to previous year questions analysis. This is economics class number 12. I'm continuing with the previous lecture. So as you know, this is 28-year previous year question analysis. Students are commenting that sir, please continue this. I'll definitely make sure that all these question papers will be covered before you go to prelims. As a part of your work, what I request you is, if you want to clear prelims, you have to do vision 35 tests. Along with this, then you can focus on what are the mistakes that we are doing. I'll tell you that in demystifying the myths. So there you can also follow that. But let's look at what are the questions that we have. As you know, what is there to expect in this. So you can expect these things, right? Along with this, I'm giving it. So we have discussed the question number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of banking yesterday, right? So 15th question, what was the purpose of intercreditor agreement signed by interbanks and financial institutions recently? I have said. This was asked in 2019. This question was related to the so-called banks which are under NPA crisis. So in order to resolve NPA crisis, Economic Survey 2016 has given a solution such that RRR formula is the one, RRR. What is RRR? One is restructuring, rectification, restructuring, recovery. In the recovery phase, they have said you can go for something like SARFAESI Act and you can recover, right? You have debt recovery tribunals. As they are not working properly, Government of India went with IBC Code 2016. As a process of IBC Code, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, one insolvent procedure is intercreditor agreement. This is as a project of Shashakt approach. So Project Shashakt has been in news because of that. So this is regarding to the so-called faster resolution of stressed assets. One thing that you can do is, if you don't know this, observe this. They are saying that signed by Indian banks and financial institutions. So this is something related to banks and financial institutions. Now, in A and B, they are speaking about government deficit, infrastructure projects of central government. So they are speaking about government. They have not even spoken about banks and financial institutions. So the statement is speaking about one thing, but in the options that is not speaking about anything related to that statement. So at least you can eliminate two options here. The rest of the two options is to act as an independent regulator for loans. This is speaking about loans means banks. It aims at faster resolution of stressed assets. So you have to choose from C to D, C and D. So at least two things can be eliminated. C and D, how you said? Intercreditor agreement. So intercreditor means more than two persons. Inter means more than two. So consortium is more than two. That is a similar meaning. So at least you can derive that answer even if you don't know it. But don't worry. This is the subject that you have to learn. So know about NPAs, what are the things associated with NPAs, and you should know what is RRR solution and how to resolve it. You can follow my notes. Extremely important topic, guys. So if there are some things in news like this, you have to regularly follow. I don't say this question is important, but a similar type of model can be asked in UPSC. Let's go for the next today's questions. The money multiplier in an economy increases with which of the following? This is absolutely previous year question. Again, I have already discussed this in the first 15. So this was repetitive question. This is the advantage that you get from previous year questions. At least 20 question themes will be there. That is what my promise is. At least 25 themes we can cover. 20 to 25 themes we'll get it. So money multiplier effect in an economy. What is money multiplier effect? I have already said M0 money will get multiplied over a period of time depending upon the economic transactions, depending upon the banking habits, depending upon the reserve ratios. Reserve ratios are inversely proportional to money multiplier. That is what I have discussed. Please look at that. So this is a repetitive question. So increase in the banking habits of the population is going to increase it. Now increasing CRR or increasing in SLR, CRR and SLR goes together. This is always remember. CRR and SLR synonyms. The only thing is, what is the difference between CRR and SLR? CRR you will keep it in form of only cash. SLR you can keep it in the form of cash or foreign currencies. You can keep in the form of gold or you can keep in the form of government securities. That is the only thing. CRR is kept with RBI, SLR is kept with the respective banks. This is the only difference between CRR and SLR. The third difference between CRR and SLR is CRR was under RBI Act 1934, SLR is under Banking Regulation Act of 1949. Except this, there is no difference between CRR and SLR. Both forms a part and parcel of your reserve ratios. So reserve ratios is CRR and SLR. Reserve ratios is inversely proportional to money multiplier. If money multiplier has to increase, reserve ratios has to be less. What are the reserve ratios? CRR and SLR. So it should not be increased, it should be decreased. If it is decreased, then both the options are correct. As it is increased, both the options are wrong. So both goes together or both goes wrong together. So you can increase. And I said, whenever there is population, always remember, if there is choice of population, always consider that, open your eyes and ears a little wide. Increase in population of the country will not have any impact directly. Now, what do I mean by that? Recently, there was a United Nations population report saying that India has crossed Chinese population. Now, in this context, whether this is good or bad for the economy, that depends upon how you are going to build the demographic dividend, right? So, if you are focusing on the demographic dividend of the population, such as if you are giving good health, good education, good employment opportunities, then they are going to act as demographic dividends. Otherwise, it is going to be a demographic disaster. So, a blank statement like increase in population of the country, you cannot deduct whether that is going to impact positively or negatively. So, these type of statement is incomplete statements. So, you can consider them as wrong. So, increase in population of the country will be is a incomplete sentence. So always consider this as wrong. CRR and SLR, I said both are synonyms. So both cannot be correct because you have to choose one option. So one option that is left is B. But what I request is know what is money multiplier effect. That should be the basic. Next. Which one of the following links all the ATMs in India? 2018 question. By the way, NPCI was in the news at that point of time. That is why they have asked this question. So National Payment Corporation of India is the answer. Now what is NPCI? That is your basic. Now, what is NPCI? National Payment Corporation of India is a company under Companies Act. By the way, it is a not-for-profit company. What is a not-for-profit company? Under Companies Act, Section 8 of Companies Act 2003 discusses about not-for-profit companies. What do you mean by not-for-profit company? A company which generates profits, but it won't take away to its homes, but they will invest that profits in the expanding of the business. So, వచ్చిన లాభాలను ఇంటికి తీసుకొని వెళ్ళకుండా బిజినెస్ లో పెట్టి ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేయడాన్ని not for profit companies అనేసి అంటాం. So NPCI is a not for profit company. So it was established in the year 2008. When it was established with 100 crore rupees, and top 10 Indian banks contributed for that 100 crores. So Indian banks today, other banks also joined to it. So the share is shared equally. Now they have invested 100 crores into NPCI. Now what is the function of NPCI? NPCI is nothing but a company which will be looking at developing of technology that is required for banking. So banks operate with technology. What do I mean by that? Say if you are operating your banking system from your home, you will do net banking. For net banking, what you should have a software. You should have a computer. That computer works on a software. So you log on to SBI website. So there you will have a software. Now who has provided that software? So how that technology was developed? Say for example, if you are doing UPI payments today, directly you will go to a tea shop or juice shop and you will do UPI payment. So who has developed that app? Though it is developed by PhonePe, where that app was designed. What is the base for that UPI? So there was one company which is building up that base, and that company is NPCI. So NPCI is one agency which is developing technology that is required for all the banking operations in India. So it was evolved in 2008. So for example, look at what NPCI has did. NPCI has developed something like, if you consider something like National Automated Clearing House, NACH. It has developed. What is NACH? NACH is something like automated clearing. See, if Infosys has to pay to all the employees their salaries, how that salaries will be protected? Through NACH. They have developed Aadhaar enabled payment systems. If you are going on the toll gate, they have developed FASTag systems. Who? NPCI. RuPay card, NPCI has developed it. Then automated, all the ATMs in India are working upon the software that is developed by this. Right. Next, you consider some more things like check truncation system. Just look at IMPS, immediate money payment systems, UPay payment systems. All these things are developed by NPCI. So NPCI, you have to remember, guys, this is important. Now, Indian Banks Association. What is Indian Banks Association? It is an association of some banks in India, right? Some top 10 banks in India are being a part of it. That is called Indian Banks Association. Now, NSDL, National Securities Depository Limited, and the CSDL, Central Securities Depository Limited. CSDL and NSDL are security depositing companies. So NSDL and CSDL are securities depositing companies. What do you mean by securities? What they will store? They will store the dematerialized accounts, right? That is related to stock market. What is dematerialized account? Dematerialized means a material is going to be converted into digital form, and that digital certificate will be stored at one place, and that place is NSDL and CSDL. Reserve Bank of India, as already said, you have to know the basics of Reserve Bank of India. That is extremely important. I have already shared enough data on that Reserve Bank of India, right? So have a look at it. So what is my point? My point is simple, guys. What I mean to say is, this is the thing that I wanted to say. NPCA, you have to know in depth about NPCA. So where you study about NPCA? You study about NPCA in money systems and money evolution. In money evolution, you have NPCA. Please have a look at it. Then you'll understand what exactly is NPCA. So I'm just showing you in my book where you can study it. This is the one. So National Payment Corporation of India. So what it has developed, NPCI, developed in 2008, not-for-profit company. It is operating national financial switch. This is the switch on which ATMs in India work. That is the question that they asked. Bharat Bill Payment Systems, National Automated Clearing House, Unified Payment Interface, Aadhaar Enabled Payment System, Bharat Interface for Money, National Electronic Toll System, Check Truncation System, RuPay. All these are developed by which company? This is the company which is developed by NPCA. Extremely important. This is what you have to remember. So this is one thing which is important. So this is a company under Companies Act. Reserve Bank of India, look at this. Reserve Bank of India is extremely important for UPSC, so you should know the basics of Reserve Bank of India. I already discussed in my class. So Reserve Bank of India, we can expect question. NPCI, this is the one. NSDL, in the share market you'll study. Where is this concept? Markets. In my book there is markets, there I have discussed it. Indian Banks Association, just Google it, you'll find something. Whatever I said, that is the more than enough. Next. Which of the following best describes the term merchant discount rate? This was in the year 2018, following the so-called demonetization move that Government of India has done in 2016. There has been increasing digital transactions. At that point of time, MDR was in news. So this was a current affairs related component. So dynamic plus static component question was asked. Now what is this merchant discount rate? You have to understand the basics. Merchant discount rate, right? So again, this is in the form of money. So just look at the system that I have discussed in my class notes. In the money itself, I have discussed what is this what is this card payment. When you are doing your card payment, what are the things that will be there, right? So whenever you are going for card payment, once again, so you can find it in my class notes. Let me tell you this. What is merchant discount rate? Say I am going to a petrol filling station. I am taking my bike to a petrol filling station. Now whenever I go with my bike, the petrol filling station, earlier I used to find one post, cards are not accepted. So this is the thing what they will say. If you want to accept the card, they will charge extra. So what they say, we are not charging, we are not accepting the cards. The question is why they don't accept the cards. That is the question. Why this petrol filling station won't accept the card that I have. Rather, what they accept cash or direct UPI payment, but cards will not be accepted. Now, why they reject cards? In order to understand this, you should know how the cards will operate. So, if I have, say, SBI a debit card or credit card, whatever the cards that you have, for using this, I'll go to the petrol filling station. After filling it, I will swipe my card. Right, where I will swipe, there will be point of sales machine. There will be one machine, and that I will swipe it, or today you tap it. Through this, what they will do, they will transact the amount. Now, for using this point of sales machine on this card, what the banker will do is, the banker is going to keep some extra charges on this petrol filling station person, which means the merchant who is using this point of sales machine, who is using this petrol filling station person is the merchant here, because he is the fellow who is having that point of sales machine. For using his machine and swiping the card, for using the card and that machine, what the bank does is, for every transaction, it charges extra amount on that merchant. Say for example, if I have filled petrol for 100 rupees in my bike, now for swiping that card, bank will charge 101 rupees. That 1 rupee will be charged on the merchant. This is known as merchant discount rate. The charge that is there on the merchants for using the card and POS machine is merchant discount rate. For doing card transactions by using this POS machine, whatever the charge that is kept by the bank on the so-called merchant, that is called merchant discount rate. Extremely different, right? So people will think merchant discount means offer. So merchants will get the offer. This is what normally people will think. This is a wrong assumption. Don't assume in that way. So the thing is, merchant discount rate means for using the charge, for using the card, whatever it is charged on the so-called this fellow merchant, that is called MDR. Now MDR is charged directly on whom? It is charged on the petrol filling station, which means if I fill petrol of 100 rupees, this fellow has to pay rupees 101 for the bank, because bank will automatically charge extra 1 rupee to this. No, merchant cannot transfer this to me, because if he says, sir, you have to pay rupee 101, then I will say, you have filled only 100 rupees, why should I pay 101? There will be a quarrel between the petrol filling station and the fellow who has filled it. We will definitely quarrel. You have filled a petrol of 100 rupees, why are you asking 101? No, he has to sit before you, stop all the vehicles and then explain, sir, this is the way, this is the procedure. So he doesn't have that much time. Neither the fellow who is filling this petrol is preparing for UPSC. So what they will do, they will not entertain all these things. Hence what they simply say, our cards are not accepted. So MDR means the charge that is kept on the merchant by the bank, and this merchant cannot pass it to the customer, that amount. As a result, they don't accept the cards. This is what MDR is. That was in news at that year, so this was a question. So what is MDR? The incentive given by a bank to a merchant for accepting payment through debit card pertaining to that bank. This is what we think. For using the debit cards, whatever the incentive, because discount is incentive, that is what we think, and we will go with this. So option A is correct, that is what we keep, but that is wrong. Hold on. The amount paid by the banks to their customers when they use debit card for financial transactions for purchasing goods or services. This also appears true. Why? Because merchant means we think that we are customers, so this might be a merchant. So this fellow is going to give me some offer because digital transactions has to be improved. That is wrong. The charge to a merchant by a bank for accepting payments from his customers through bank debit cards. This is the correct answer. So this is the subject. If you don't know the subject, all the options appears to be correct. Right? So this is what the option is. This is not an incentive, but this is a charge. Rate means charge. This is the charge, additional charge. So that is what you have to understand. So extremely subjective question. If you don't know the subject with options, you cannot go. So just remember this. I hope you have understood the subject. If they ask a repetitive question on this, be careful. Next. This is in news, guys. Recently, definitely there will be one question. Recently, what RBI did day before yesterday, if you have followed the Hindu, today it is 1st December. On 27th of November, RBI has fixed some extra capital adequacy ratios for non-banking financial companies. They have increased capital adequacy ratio. As a result, the moment RBI does something, that will be important for prelims. Hence, this question or this theme will be repetitive. I am not saying question will be repetitive, but something related to this thing they can ask. Try to understand. Capital adequacy ratio is the amount that the banks have to maintain in the form of their own funds to offset any loss that the banks incur if the account holder fail to repay the dues. CAR is decided by each individual bank. What is capital adequacy ratio? Capital means the amount that is required to start a business is called capital. Always remember this, right? So if I want to start a tea shop, it requires some investment. Say the investment is rupees 1 lakh. This 1 lakh investment from where I get, that is called capital. So in order to start this business, whatever that is amount required, that we call it as capital. Always remember this. Now, adequacy ratio. So they are speaking about ratio. Ratio means you have to compare with some parameter. Now, what is this? So ratio here means whenever a bank gives this capital amount, Then the banks have NPA problems. So for example, I have taken this 1 lakh from SBI, right? So what if I don't pay to the SBI? That turns out to be a NPA, just like Visa Malya, right? So what the bank will do is, banks also is doing business. I am doing tea shop business. Banks is doing lending business, which means they have collected money from some people called depositors, and they are running this business. But in order to start this bank, also they keep some capital. 500 crores capital is required in order to start a bank in India. Now, under this circumstances, what it happens? Now, if my loan that was extended by the bank is going to be an NPA, they should have enough capital even to serve this NPAs. So, a fellow who is taking loan from me if he is not paying me, then I should have minimum capital to ensure that my bank is not failing. So, I have given 1 lakh to a friend and he is not giving back. My condition should not be worse. Even if he doesn't return, I should have some buffers or some extra reserve. That is called capital adequacy ratio. Maintain your capital adequately to meet your risks. What is a risk? Risk is something which is associated with failure of non-payment or not repayment. So capital adequacy ratio means the capital that is required, or adequate capital has to be maintained to ensure that the risks are covered. This is called capital adequacy ratio. Always remember that you call it as capital to risk weighted assets ratio. CRAR is also similar. So to the risks that is associated, what is the capital that you have to maintain? Where you study this, guys? This is under Basel norms. So what are Basel norms? Basel norms are the norms of the world, or voluntary contributions that is made by the banks in order to maintain CRAR at somewhere around 11% or 12%. In India, it is maintained around 11% to 12% as per RBI requirements. So CRAR should be maintained as per Basel norms. So Basel norms is associated with the minimum capital that has to be maintained by the banks or banks things. So it is the amount banks has to maintain in the form of their own funds to offset any loss. Why loss will occur? Because of risk. If you are not going to repay, that is risk. So this is the definition of capital adequacy ratio. Remember this. They can repeat this theme. That is correct. Now, in India, CAR is not decided by individual bank. This will be decided by RBI. Extremely important. Why RBI? Because RBI is the boss or godfather of all the banks in India. Hence, RBI decides what should be your CAR and how you have to maintain it. Right? So, in India, it is decided by RBI. That is the reason why recently RBI has increased the CAR for NBFCs. See, RBI does it. What does this mean? This is RBI which is doing it. So this is previous year prelims question, or this is current affairs that you have to follow. So this is the answer. So only A is correct. 28th question. What is legal tender money? What is legal tender? Legal means law. Tender means exchange. Money means the instrument that is used in exchange of goods and services. A tool for exchange of goods and services is money. So legal tender money. So which means in the exchange of goods and services, you have to accept it because law is telling you to accept. Tender means exchange it. Who is telling you to exchange? Law is telling you. So which law? Reserve Bank of India Act 1935 as well as the so-called Coinage Act of 2011. So if I give 5 rupee coin, you cannot deny it. Why? There is one law. Coinage Act of 2011 says that this coin is valid. So if I give you 5 rupees, if I am indebted to you 5 rupees, I can pay you 5 rupees and I can get out my indebtedness. You cannot deny that 5 rupees I won't accept. You get me 1 cup of coffee, then I will accept. No, that is not. Coffee is not a legal tender, but coin is legal tender. Why? How coin is getting that legal tender? Because of Coinage Act 2011. Similarly, say if I am indebted to you 1000 rupees. So as per the law, you have to accept 1000 rupees. If I give 2 500 rupee notes to you, you have to accept it. Why you have to accept the 2 500 rupee notes? Reason is simple. Because RBI Act 1935 clearly says that Reserve Bank of India governor is signing on that paper. As a result, Reserve Bank of India is telling that you can accept it. No one should not deny. No one should deny it in transactions. That is what legal tender money is. So legal tender means that has to be accepted in day-to-day transactions. All your currencies that is backed up by RBI and the government, that is coins, everything is legal tender. So the money which is tender in court of law, This is called court fees. This is wrong. This is, you call it as the fees of the court. The money which a creditor is under compulsion to accept in settlement of claims. In settlement of claims, you are under compulsion. Law means compulsion. Always remember this. Law means compulsion. Law means there is a force on you to do. What is law? Law means force. The bank money in the form of checks, demand deposits. See, bank money itself is checks, DDs and bills of exchange. This could be a question. Bills of exchange, checks and DDs are what? They are bank money. Remember this. What is bank money? Money which is given by banks, or the form of money that is given by banks. In banks, what will be normally they will be giving you? Checks will be used for transactions. Bill of exchange can be used for transactions, as well as the so-called drafts will be used, demand drafts. This bank money is one question that they can ask. So what is money? So money is one form of legal tender, right? So bank money is in banks, major things is checks, DDs and bills of exchange. Now remember this. Checks, DDs and bills of exchange cannot be a legal tender. Why it cannot be legal tender? Say for example, if I am going to a vegetable shop, if I am purchasing 200 rupees vegetables, there I cannot write a check and I cannot give it to him. What the vegetable vendor says, sir, this is not accepted, please give me 200 rupees cash. He can deny it. Why? You cannot give to the vegetable shop owner this checks, or I cannot give demand deposit, draft. What he will ask, give me cash. Where checks and DDs are accepted, only in those areas called banks, they will accept it. So that is called bank money. This is not money which is normally accepted by public. Hence, this cannot be a legal tender. They can deny it. So what is legal tender? That should not be denied. The metallic money in circulation in a country? Yes, metallic money, if that is metallic money. What is that metallic money? The coins. If it is printed by or minted by so-called government. Now, metallic money means, consider this, all the metallic money cannot be a legal tender. This is what you have to understand, right? Metallic money, say for example, recently they have released senior NTR 100 rupee commemorative coin. A coin was released. Now, this coin, people may accept it, may not accept it. People won't accept this. If I want to pay to the vegetable vendor 100 rupees, if I give senior NTR coin, they will reject it. So this is not accepted. So metallic money in circulation cannot be accepted. So always remember this. So legal tender means the money which should be accepted by everyone and no one should deny. The moment you say legal, it means law. Law means restriction. Restriction means you cannot deny it. This is the thing that you have to understand. Second one. In India, you have currency notes as well as coins. In India, coins are limited legal tender. Cash is, or currency notes are unlimited legal tender. This is one thing that you have to understand. What is coins? Say for example, 1 rupee coins are limited up to only 1000 numbers, which means you can pay up to 1000 rupees by using 1 rupee note, 1 rupee coin. And 50 paisa coins are accepted only up to 20 numbers, which means up to 10 rupees. What does this mean? Say if I am going to a coaching institute, I have to pay 1 lakh fees. I cannot take 1 lakh 1 rupee coins in a bag and I cannot carry it to the coaching center and say, I have bought 1 lakh coins, please count it. They will deny it. Why they will deny it? Coins are, yes, they are legal tender, but they are limited legal tender. Unlimited legal tender is cash. That is what you have to remember. This is the meaning of legal tender. So always remember this. Legal means law. Law means this one. So no one can, under compulsion, there will be a compulsion under law. So this is the answer. So remember this. The other options are these things. Right guys, this is the thing. I am going to make a myth video again about second myth that you have to follow. Right. This is about the questions for the day. Thanks for joining. Have a great day.